everyone. I'm Willem.
And I'm Tim.
And this is Hear Me Out Pitch. And we got ads going on in the background. Ooh, they got Sisu on here? I gotta start watching that. Ugh. Well, anyway, we're gonna try really hard not to get distracted by ads, but oh my gosh, what just happened? Oh,
Try not to get distracted by the ads, but we're definitely going to get distracted by the movie.
Want a break from the ads? Whoa. All right. Oh, yeah, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be terrible. They're going to hate us. I can see it already.
Yep.
What's happening? What's happening? Anyway, well, hello, everyone. And holy crap, it is Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So, wow, it's turkey season. Any fun plans, Tim?
Yeah, I get Thanksgiving 3 times this week.
Dang.
Twice on Thursday and then once on Saturday.
Dang.
It might not actually, I don't know. I don't know if it's actually 3 times. It might just be twice. I'm not 100% sure about the second one on Thursday. But we'll see.
All right.
We'll at least stop in and say hi to some family.
Good. Everyone should go say hi to family on Thanksgiving.
What about you? I already know. They don't know.
I already celebrated on Saturday with my family, so I will be just going and visiting people tomorrow. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm probably gonna steal some turkey somewhere along the line, so I'll find some. I'll scavenge for it. It'll be great.
Yep.
Oh man, a lot of time on our hands. Not really. We're kind of short on time. Speaking of time,
that was an absolutely amazing segue. Wow, not forced at all.
Oh,
waste of my time, more like.
Waste. Oh. You think you're so funny.
Sometimes
it's a rarity.
Yep.
Well, the movie we're doing today is In Time from 2000 what? 2013,
I think,
with Justin Timberlake, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a passing. I think this is another one of like The Mummy. It's not bad, but it just ain't. I don't know what it's missing. Just a little bit of like a lackluster. Like it felt like they were trying to do. It was kind of like Pompeii. They were trying to do multiple things with it, and we couldn't really get the feel. Like, was it a Bonnie and Clyde movie? Was it a love story? What's happening? What's going on? And for those of you that don't know about this movie, it's a strange, weird world where everyone on their left arm has a countdown timer. If that countdown goes down to 0, you die. Everyone looks like they're 25. When you turn 25, your clock starts from a year. And everything, currency, is used by time. You want to buy food, you use time. It's a very unique concept, and I love it. And it's very strange to watch, though, because everyone looks rather young. Like Justin Timberlake's mother is played by Olivia Wilde, and Olivia Wilde is like, I love her. And to see him like come up, give her a kiss on the forehead, and say, "Go, happy birthday, Mom!" You're like, "Whoa!" Oh. So it's an interesting movie. It is. Sorry, that was kind of a
it was good. And the currency of the movie is money, or is not money. It's time, which is an interesting concept to me personally, just because it's like, we're always talking about how we don't have enough time on our hands, and how there's just so many things, so many distractions that waste our time. I could talk about all the distractions in the world that are a waste of my time, and all the other things that are just complete wastes of time, not even distraction, but a necessary waste of time. Like driving to work,
watching this movie.
I
mean, looking at our phones. You know what's interesting? I realized about this movie. No one has a smartphone.
Yeah, I saw that,
and it makes sense because why would I ever, if I literally had a day every day, like if I'm living,
Mhm.
day by day, paycheck to paycheck sort of living, I don't have time for my phone. You don't get any time.
No.
And I really do like it, and it was giving me kind of like Hunger vibes feel for
It
anyone.
was definitely Hunger Game vibes, and it's split into 12 districts, 12 time zones, which is Hunger Games. I don't know. It was interesting.
Oh, okay. This is where that little girl comes in because she can't use that year. I'm like, how is she giving her? She's walking around with the little wallet. Okay.
Yeah.
They do a
It's
good job of kind of setting up the world building here.
they leave some things out.
Yeah. Because,
They
like, they're showing everyone buying coffee at this workplace, and it's like 4 minutes for a cup of coffee. Justin Timberlake's character is in this in the poorest district in America, I guess, or at least a part of America. Like, they didn't really.
he's in the ghetto. I
He's
don't
in the
know if it's
ghetto.
the most, but it's definitely the ghetto, and people are literally living day to day. Um, Timing, they only have a few hours on their clock at a time. Um, and it's it's kind of cool to see, in the real world, we have the slums, we have the ghetto, where the people are living day to day, living anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 in a day. And I don't know how you could live that way personally. Not in America.
Like, I filled up.
Mhm.
I bought, not to get into like personal spending or anything, but today, just as an example, today I bought a bag of chips at work, even though I packed lunch. Bought a
Mhm.
bag of chips for $1.80, and that's because it's a convenient vending thing at work, so you don't have to go drive and whatever. Um, and then I went and bought gas today, which gas prices aren't bad right now, but
No.
still had to fill up a full tank because I wasn't watching, and I could have probably gone to a different place, but I went to Smith's and kind of used a discount, but still I spent like $38 to fill up for 12 gallons, and I'm like, dang, $40 just like that
Mhm.
gone. I remember used
Yep.
to I remember think I remember when I used to think that $40 was a lot. Like, I'm talking when I was in junior high, I'm like, $40 to fill up a.
$40 is still a
It
lot of
is,
money.
but I literally can. I probably, on average, if you look at my month and how much I spend for groceries, for rent, I believe I did the math. I spend about $70 a day, and that's without excess paying.
Mhm.
And what was interesting? We did kind of some maths for this movie, and a minute was $1.50 for this movie. And
Yeah.
for our current in 2023, for our current time period, $1.50 was a minute. And that's like, and I'm sitting there looking at that. You times that by an hour, and I don't even get, it's ridiculous. Because $1.50, so that means every hour is what's $90. And I'm just like, I don't
Mhm.
even get paid. I don't even get paid a third of that. And this is what they were asking these people's way of living in this poor district. And who knows what they're getting paid.
Mhm. It's kind of ridiculous,
It is, and that's the point
honestly.
of this movie is, the poor get highly taxed and they're spending all their money so that slowly this time when people are born will get spent because the time's going somewhere.
Mhm.
Either it's getting countdown or whatever. So, because what's crazy to me is where did all that time come from? Because if one
That's
day,
that's something I've been thinking about because I've been thinking when you turn 25, not everybody lives to 25, but when you turn 25, you get a year,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um
Yeah, because they probably still have like accidents. They probably still have
Hmm.
illnesses in this world. Maybe they don't. They never really talked about like illnesses or anything in this movie.
That's true.
Maybe all humans are just perfect in this world because we're all living at 25. So if your body's at 25, and it's funny because Justin Timberlake's character and myself are the same age.
Hmm.
He's 25 for 3 years. I haven't been 25 for 3 years. I am 28. I wish I was stuck at 25. That'd be nice. But
28 for a few months.
yeah, yeah, I've been
Hmm.
28 for 7. No, not 6. Just 5. 5 months. 5 months. No, 4. Wow. Sorry, guys. I don't know my own birthday.
However long it's been.
However long it's been, but still, it's crazy to think that it makes me feel better about myself personally because I'm like, oh, when does my life, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, get your life together. It's like these characters, they don't really get started till 25. Like everyone's living with your parents till 25, or you still live with it. It's just a different way. It it's such an interesting, it's made me think about how this world reacts, and I wish we would have gotten more of this world. And I know this is just a brief story. Honestly, it's story concepts like this with such an
Hmm.
in-depth world that I wish for more of a series
Yeah, yeah.
than just a
This,
movie.
I feel like this movie definitely would have done better as a series.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there were a lot of parts where I felt like it was rushed to get to a certain part. Things were not explained very well. Um, even just maybe a 5 episode stint is all
Yeah,
we really need.
6. Even number sounds better. Sorry,
6. Yeah.
we want 5, and we want to keep an even number. Wait a minute, five's not an even. Sorry.
Yep. Just I don't know. I feel like the first episode could have established the world. It
Yeah,
could have been the episode where it established that time is currency, rather than money. Money doesn't exist, and it's all time.
it could have been like a time, like the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes could have been about how we went from, because we were talking about it, how maybe it first started off as a wind up heart that got placed into
Hmm.
someone, like over someone, and then slowly got implemented into it, and then slowly it became fused with people. And after years, the population slowly died out. So maybe there were people who were in their 80s.
I'm more imagining it was genetic, or yeah, genetic engineering
Yeah, of babies. But I'm talking about
through
the people before
breeding.
then.
I don't know.
Because,
I feel like it would have been they're working on test tube babies trying to figure it out.
I really wish we could have seen one old looking person, just one, in the rich district.
That
Just
would be
one
interesting.
old person just walks into the room and they're like, whoa. They're like, I was one of the original. And he has like his mechanism is like completely different. It's like his whole arm is robotic and it's like counting down, like clicking, like, but it's like
Hmm.
eons. And they're just looking at him like, what's the point of living? Your body's like, and he like slams his head. Like, that would have been cool. Like, he could have been one of the main villains. Like, the head of like a doctor, like a Snow type person from
Uh-huh.
Hunger Games. I can't, I like class systems because it's easy for us to see that. Because I've been reading this one book or listening to this book called, series called Red Rising.
I have it. I haven't read it, but I've heard that it's fantastic.
I'm kind of iffy with the second 3 so far because the first 3 set up just beautifully, and I was like, oh, that's a good way to end. Cool, yay! And then like now we're getting into the nitty gritty, and what sucks is I kind of had this epiphany, and I actually wanted to talk about it, and I'll talk about it briefly with you guys. Is that I feel like the reason why we struggle when it comes to series bringing up more of our favorite, like making sequels to movies or sequels to shows that we love, is that we don't want to see our heroes go on the hero's journey again. We
Hmm.
don't want to see them fall because we expect them just to rise, but that's not how life is. So when artists, directors, writers take our beloved characters and make them fall again and go through trials, we hate it. And I feel like
That's
that's why I don't like the second series, is because
mhm.
he's making choices that's like, ooh. So
That's how I felt about the Percy Jackson series.
I loved those.
It's great. I love them all. I just felt like it was almost a repeat for a lot of it. One series that I feel like did this perfectly was the Mistborn series. Of course, it's the Mistborn series. Brandon Sanderson wrote it, so of course it's going to
If
be
you all do not
perfect. But
understand that this is a Brandon Sanderson loving podcast, and his name will be brought up regularly and not worshipped, but very much revered,
mhm.
accept it. If you don't like him, that's your opinion. It's wrong, but we still love you. but like, dang,
I'm required to love you. That doesn't mean I have to like you.
yeah. But but Mistborn, it's a
Yeah,
great example.
the first series it was perfect, and each book brought something new to the world. The world was changing with each book in the first series, which I thought was fantastic. Um, and we saw our hero. We in the first book we saw Kelsier, right, and
Yeah.
then and Vin, and then we saw Vin for the rest of those first three books. Go through the hero's journey and become a hero, and then we have the second series, which is 600 years later.
3.
300 years. Is it 300 years?
Yeah, 3.
However many years later.
600 would have
I
been
think it is 300 years.
way too long, in
You're
my
right.
opinion.
You're right. 300 years later. Um, we have Wax and Wayne, who go through their own hero's journey for the next four books, and it's the same world, the same mechanics, the same magic system. My favorite magic system out of every magic system I've ever heard of, by the way. Allomancy is just amazing. I think it's so cool.
I'd rather be the
Um,
I'd rather be the one with the rings. I think they're cooler.
the Ferrochemists.
I think a ferrochemist who isn't castrated could probably kill a Mistborn.
Yeah.
The full-fledged one. We're getting way off.
Sorry.
We will
Anyway.
have that debate. But
Anyway, no,
I think both are
that's-
very. But you know what's interesting? Kind of to somewhat tie in is that the second series of Brandon Sanderson's books, they're not as long. You know why? He's not having to world build. And I think that kind of shows the interesting thing about that if you set up a world, you don't need to do it. That's why certain movies, we don't need to.
They are the same length. Each book is the same length.
I swear the other ones
It's
are like,
all within 100 pages of each other.
oh, you know which ones I'm getting confused with?
If you say Stormlight Archive, you're
Yes.
still wrong because they get longer with each book.
They do get longer with each book. All right, so my argument is unfound. And
Anyway, the point you were trying to make that we got off topic explaining
world building.
world building, and
I think that's what makes difference between movies and series, is because if
Agreed.
it's a World War II movie, we don't need to world build.
we know what's going on.
You should. If you don't, go read a darn history book. Jeez. But
Yeah. Harry Potter, for example, it still happens on Earth. It still happens, in the 1900s. We still have everything that we know, and then we're just adding to it. So Harry Potter is a good example of a series that doesn't need much world building, aside from the new stuff that J.K. Rowling decided to add with the magic and that whole Illuminati government that is Hogwarts and the Ministry of Magic.
it really takes a weird turn after the third book.
It does. If you're ever curious to know what Hogwarts really is, Brendan Lee Mulligan does a really good job of explaining it with Matt Mercer. They have a whole conversation about it. Anyway, that's beside the point.
I would think we want to stress that this movie really felt kind of flat because we didn't really there were so many questions brought up in this world. Or how about I phrase it this way? too many times in this movie, questions came up that never came on. That too many questions came before we received any answers. We had way more questions at the end of the movie than answers, if that makes sense.
I will
about
say
the world.
I will say this: it's not Babylon AD.
No, it's not.
It's not nearly as
But Babylon AD takes place
bad
on
as
Earth. It's
true.
cataclysmic. I didn't really need that movie. Is just bad because we don't get to the nitty gritty until 20 minutes is up until we have 20 minutes left of the movie.
Mhm.
That's why that movie is so bad. I understand that world. I can relate to it. I've seen it in many different stories.
Yeah.
I didn't, but yet somehow the movie was like, and it would just, I didn't know what was going on. This movie, they do a pretty good job really fast. Like it's been, let's see here.
20 minutes?
Been not even 20 minutes and we're already getting
We've got the meat of the story already beginning.
We've got the issue. And the issue is that Will, sorry, I always like, if I say Will, I always like pause. I'm like, that's not me. Anyway. Will, played by Justin Timberlake, is from this poor district. He works in a factory, living day by day, gets paid, whatever, lives with his mother. And at the beginning of the movie, he saves a man from the very rich district. I think it was District 4 later on, but just very rich. Like this man has 116 years on his clock. Justin Timberlake's character struggles to have a day. And he mentions it later in the movie when he turned 25. They spent his year because him and his mother were in so much debt from his father who had passed on. But this man is saved by Justin Timberlake from these mob of Minutemen, these men who just take people's time. If people have way too much time, they force them to. Because we probably didn't mention this rule. If you kill someone, that time is void. The clock will go black. You can't steal the time. The only way you can take time from people is if you link right arms, and
if your arm is on top.
Yes.
If you basically when your arm is on top, you are.
Think of a sundial. I mean the sand glass. What are
An
those called?
hourglass.
An hourglass.
Yes.
The glass of sand. Sands of Time. Prince of Persia. Great movie. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Justin Timberlake, in a nutshell, is gifted 116 years. The man has been living for so long. He talks with Justin Timberlake's character. He says, I've been living for 85 years. I'm tired, and I've had so much time. And him and Justin Timberlake are hiding out in a warehouse. And he said, Will and him are hiding out in a warehouse. He saves him. They discuss their differences. And he asks him what he would do with his time if he had it. And he said, I would help others. I would not waste it. And then he wakes up the next day and he just has all this time. And he looks out the window and he sees the man sitting on the bridge. The man had left himself enough time to walk to a bridge, sit there, watch the sunrise. His time runs out and he dies. Mm-hmm. So now Justin Timberlake has 116 years where in this district you will get...
You'll get mugged, you'll get killed for your time.
Yep, they will forcefully take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot. That's a lot.
That is a lot of time. Imagine it this way. I'm not doing the math, but if a minute is $1.50, right, and all of a sudden you receive 116 years overnight. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of time, just to get instantly. I don't think it's a perfect conversion, just because it's a different economy type and it's a different world. But just the idea that how much money would it equate to?
Oh my gosh. If it's by this system that we've said, and a minute is $1.50,
mm-hmm.
1,463,000,000 $270,400.
Holy cow.
That's how much time he received in process. He became a billionaire
Overnight.
And the thing is, later in the movie, they're playing games and he wins. How much money does he get after that game?
1,100.
1,100 years.
1,100 years. Holy cow.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, imagine getting that. And then a million years. A million years later.
$13 billion at one point.
Holy
That's
cow.
insane.
Wow.
So
what
this
about
movie-
what about the million? What about the
I
million?
don't want to do it.
Because there's a point in the movie where
Oh my gosh. Okay.
they take a million years and they distribute it throughout the slums.
How many zeros are in a million? Oh, six.
6.
Oh my gosh, I can't even say it. It's 1.261440000E13. It's a big number. I almost said a bad
Wow.
word because I was so taken aback. Why did I pause it?
So 13 zeros. Oh my
Did I
gosh.
pause the movie?
Yeah.
I did?
Uh-huh.
Why did I pause the movie?
We were looking at how much time had gone.
Oh my gosh, that makes no sense. Why would I do that? Anyway, so currently he has $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Really sad because he's trying to do the best thing. He gives his buddy 10 years. And if we just talked about how much 116 is, he basically just gave him probably a couple $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And his buddy goes off and later in the movie, it's revealed he wastes it and just
No,
drinks himself to death.
Yeah.
He doesn't waste it on, he doesn't waste all of it.
Use it. He doesn't use it. He kills himself by drinking.
Alcohol. So I guess there is illnesses. Like your body can't take that much. So I guess
Mm-hmm.
there are limits, of course, to your body, but no one ever talks about getting sick here. No one talks about anything. Probably because if they get sick, they're like, well, that's just how it is. I just die. Here I go.
I'm
dying again.
sick. Here, take my time.
Yep.
Let me end quick.
And half of them probably don't even get to see it. They probably have to pay. Well, they do mention bills. See, that's something because this poor district, they don't even get to just live. They're just running, and everyone in this district is running. No one has cars. And that was one thing that bugged me, is he taught himself how to drive a fancy stick shift car. And I'm like,
I mean, yeah.
That was the one thing I was like, yeah, maybe she could drive.
But if she was the one driving, she wouldn't have gone where he went.
So stupid. So stupid. Go give your wife that money. Or go share or buy those little, because they have these little bank things. The little these silver piggy banks that go over their wrists and they can store money. Oh, look how pretty she is. Sorry, I love Olivia Wilde. I will always freak out. Cowboys and Aliens, you all might not like it, but I loved her in that movie. I loved her in Tron Legacy. I love her. She's my favorite. So it's so sad because Will receives this money and his mother's working on the other side of town and she has to take the bus. She has an hour and a half left and it gets bumped up to 2 hours for the bus fare for her to get home. And no one on the bus is willing to give her time. And sadly, it's this very big epic scene of her and Will trying to find each other. And finally, she sees Will. She sees her. They're running toward each other.
And then she dies.
And she dies
10
in his
steps
arms.
away from him.
Just...
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a good scene.
It was a good scene.
And it makes me so mad, though. So mad. And I get it. It moves the story along. How would you do it if we did it in a series? Which
I would have kept that scene the same. If we had done it in a series, I would have kept that scene the same. Maybe in the second episode. Maybe third episode.
Look at him. Will's waiting for her with flowers.
I can't stop imagining that. I'm sorry, guys, but Justin Timberlake looks like Eminem and Orlando Bloom had a love baby, you know?
At least in this movie, because he's bald.
Yeah.
Look how, and no one is willing, and it's so sad, because no one has time to spare. They don't have any time to spare. What makes me mad, though, is a random car just couldn't pick her up and it's fine. I guess that I'm very empathetic, so it just kills me. Look at her, they're running, and it's just so this world building here to some degree is very good. This scene was very powerful, and it made me feel so bad for Will. He gives this amazing gift. Him and his mom would have been set for life.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just put it in that little bank thing, and his mom just gives enough so she can run by. Maybe they could have moved. And that's what bugs me. So why can't you just buy one of those little bank things, store the money, so you're not walking around with all this cash on hand? Oh, she dead. She gone. She gone. I don't think Justin Timberlake's a bad actor.
No.
I think out of most singers, he does a good job.
Mm-hmm. I will say there are some parts where it's cheesy enough that it makes me a little constipated, but
This is not a cheesy scene.
This is not. This is a powerful scene. I feel like...
Is it the part where he says, I'm going to take them for everything they got?
That's a pretty cheesy.
It was a
cheesy
pretty
part,
cheesy
yep.
line. And now we have the Timekeepers.
Yep.
How did you like the Timekeepers?
I thought it was cool. Honestly, like, I'm imagining, you know how in some sci-fi shows there's like the intergalactic police FBI, that are super enigmatic, and I don't know, that's kind of the vibe that I got from these guys.
So like Blade Runners? You've never seen Blade Runner,
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about. Yes.
They hunt down
Mm-hmm.
they hunt down Rogue. Oh my gosh, can't remember the name. Oh, y'all, if anyone knows Blade Runner, y'all know what I'm talking about. The fake people, the people who they're not really robots, but they're not human. It's a good movie. Everyone should watch it. Everyone should watch it. I love, anyway, but the prostitute makes me laugh because she's like, you got some time to spare? And he's like, you're pushing, what did he say, 40? 60. And she's like, well, thanks. And you're like, you look 25. You look fine. Anyway,
that's funny.
So back to Minutemen. I honestly feel like they didn't really explain very well what their job is. Like, their job is just do they solve crimes? Are they the police officers? Because you don't see them walking around more.
I feel like it was explained a little bit just over time. Not explained, but it was shown kind of over time that they are basically the FBI of time.
Of a corrupt society, though. Because their job is to make sure that this area has the most time and this area has the littlest of time.
Well, they're trying to make sure that time stays where it's at.
Yes.
That time doesn't move. It's like if all of a sudden, South Salt Lake and Rose Park, if $1 billion just got dumped into Rose Park,
Yeah. Just certain parts. I get what you're saying. Just all of a sudden, $1 billion is just thrown into someone's lap.
Chaos. It would be chaos, weird. And it would be there would be a fight for power of who has the most money, and it would just be extra chaotic. And I feel like the timekeepers are there to make sure that doesn't happen. To make sure that the time that is earned and that happens in District 12 stays in District 12. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think so. They have a duty, but it's kind of a scummy duty because no one in this district likes them. Yeah, we've seen that one part. I thought they were going to mug him, but I realized if they were to kill him, probably would have called down forces, and that would have been terrible. So, but yeah, so this part, so Will is leaving. He calls a special valet service, and he's moving through time zones, which I wish he would have just taken, I wish they would have just had, a bus or a train, maybe. I think a train would have been more elaborate. It gets more, they take this train, they have to get off at the station, they all pay, and then they go to a different thing. Because I feel like a road, just a single road.
Well, I kind of like it because it almost the road is a very worn It's very worn, and it almost gives me the vibe of this is the remnants of a past society
That's true.
before this genetic
Because I feel like
engineering.
the population isn't that big. Because there are no cars in the road. There's no one else.
No.
No one is doing nothing. So either they just didn't have a lot of extras for this movie, or they just wanted to say this movie does not have a lot of people. It is limited, and because in this,
Like
because now we're
there's cars in the upper districts, in the higher class areas.
but even like just driving, like no one changes districts, and I guess now we are seeing more cars, and now we're
Mhm.
seeing all the people. They're wearing all these fancy clothes. Everyone's walking. Everyone has like two guards with them, which makes me laugh. I'm like, why do these people need guards in this area? Which I that's something that really kind of bugged me is everyone has a guard. It's like, why do they have a guard? I do love that he starts running and everyone just looks at him like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Oh, and here she is, Mrs. Sunshine. How did you like her?
I thought as a character, I thought it was very well done.
Back to the movie. Goes in this fancy swanky apartment, and what did they say? 2 months?
Hmm.
2 months to spend a couple nights there. Or is it just one night?
One night, I
One
think.
night?
And it was just for a regular room, and then he asks for a suite.
Oh my gosh. Because again, he has. Oh, we talked about it. $1 billion. $1 billion. He's fine. Even in this area, he's pretty. He's doing pretty fine. He's doing pretty fine. Oh, we forgot to explain that each district was paying fees every time he moved, and by the time he got District 4, he was paying a year.
Hmm.
So it really does keep people shoved back. And if y'all haven't tell, this movie's kind of anti-capitalist, and we will not be doing any political speaking here. Whatever is your preference of society, that is up to you. We will not be placing anything. But this movie did bring like ups and downs of it, and it made you very angry to see that this one area is doing so well and the others don't. And it's
Hmm. It's a very good comparison of you got Beverly Hills
yeah.
versus most of California.
Oh my gosh. Wow, you just went there.
I did. Sorry to generalize, but like a lot of times when you think of California, right, you either think the beach. There's three things you usually think of outside of Disney and Waterworld
What a
or
world.
SeaWorld. You usually think of, the coast. You think of Beverly Hills, super rich, and Hollywood and all the super rich people, and then you also might, for me personally, you might think of kind of the ghetto and the slums where
In the ghetto.
where all the gangs thrive, and money doesn't move very quick. That's kind of the differentiation that I'm personally seeing, is that it's, you got the upper class versus the ghetto, which is exactly what it is.
Yeah. So they do a good job of tracking down Will super fast. Because Will is now in District 4. He's spending all this money. And the Minutemen, not the Minutemen, the Timekeepers are. And Cillian Murphy plays the main detective. Awesome.
He is a fantastic.
I've always wanted him to be Doctor Doom.
He'd be a good Doctor
He'd be a
Doom.
great Doctor Doom. I do not want Pedro Pascal to be Mr. Fantastic. That's who they want, and that's who they think it's going to be. And I'm just
okay.
like, no, I love Pedro Pascal. And the thing is, someone said, what if Pedro Pascal was Doctor Doom? And I said, I could do that too.
I'd be okay with that.
He's a great Mandalorian, and he can be
Mhm.
cold and cruel. I would be perfectly. Anyway, sorry, we're not here to talk about that.
Nope.
So, but I think I want to talk about just how fast it's going. because they find him so quick, and I wish we could have gotten more of District 4. I wish we would have gotten more of him living there. I wish he would have been there a couple months, if we did this. So let's agree that we're going to see this as a TV series.
Yeah.
So first episode, world building, introducing to Will, his best friend, living a life in the slums, and we're just kind of getting used to it. The second, and it would be cool if every episode is like, not in a different district, but like the name corresponds with time in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Like this time zone, that time, I don't know. Something cheesy like that. But look at that, 650 years. Again, we talked about how 100 years is over $1 billion. So you do the math. So they're just playing with it. Again, this is why it's fun watching movies in the background, but we get distracted. So back to episodes. First episode, world building. Second episode, second episode could be the whole
taking Will, giving him the money.
He wakes up, and the end of the episode is him looking out, looking on his wrist, seeing the time, look out the window and see the man, and seeing.
I would like that in the first.
In the first
At the
episode?
very, very end. I'm. How long are you imagining these episodes? Because I'm imagining 40 minutes.
I imagine 40 minutes. So I would I would see the end of the episode with him sitting on the bridge, and then it cuts to credit. And then the second and the third episode starts with him running to the man, and it shows it counting down, and then he just.
See, I'm imagining one episode back. So the first episode ends with him getting the money. Second episode ends with him getting to New Greenwich. Third episode could end with the party. Fourth could end up with them, starting the Bonnie and Clyde thing.
Yeah, because I don't
know.
We should probably,
because I feel like no, I want episode 1 to end with Mom's death.
Really?
I want it to end right there where she's dead.
I would want the second episode. So here's why I'm thinking. I'm thinking the first episode ends with the Minutemen busting into the bar and looking at it, and he looks at the dude with the big arm. He's like, "That is an impressive watch," and then it stops. That's where the episode ends. And you're like, "What are Minutemen? What's happening? Why is everyone freaking out?" Second episode explains the Minutemen. It shows them mug one person and take their time in front of the rich guy. He's like, "You can save this man right here. He doesn't have that much time, but I could take it very easily." And he wrestles the arm. "You can save him right now. Oh, he's running out. Oh," and he stops. Oh, there he goes. Only 5 hours. Not a lot, but you have eons. Everyone in here could have a little bit from you. So something like that. Saves him, gets the time.
Mm-hmm.
Third episode begins with him, with the man giving, he realizes he has all that time, watches the man die, is helping out people, and then it ends with his mom dying. So, and that's a good minute. So I'm thinking 8 episodes. So the first 4, the first 3.
Maybe, yeah.
So first 3 are.
I can see that. Because that would give a lot of time for world building and establishing how things go. I like that.
Episode 3 would be him being kind of angry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course. Okay, sorry, not maybe being angry. If I received all that money, and I kind of mentioned to you, I know to somewhat of receiving a bonus from work that just, oh my gosh, helped me out, and I needed it. And just having that relief wash over you is amazing. To be able to be like, I don't need to worry about bills for a month. That was wonderful. For me to be able to I don't have to worry about bills for the rest of my life, and I can help my family, and then my whole family is wiped away, I would be, I'd
be livid.
I don't know what I would do. If I would hope that I would do my best to try to help a bunch of friends and family, but I would be kind of miserable.
I'd be depressed.
Because my my parents and sisters are gone, I'd be just ugh. Anyway, espresso depresso right there. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
folks. But third would be mom is gone. We start the episode 4 with him just completely distraught holding her. I would want them to show what they do with their bodies. Probably I'm guessing cremate. And he probably
Maybe. I
I
don't know.
well,
It never shows.
they never show. They never show what they do because their bodies are just these are most of the time they're just laying around and it's like I would like to see them. He would probably do the rich thing and he would go bury her because he could pay for it. And he has this beautiful little like it just shows the next scene and it shows him staring at her, staring at her grave, and it's a beautiful grave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because you still get the time increments, which is so weird because they don't look old, but you know that the body underneath looked 25, but yet it had been alive. And his mom had just turned 50. Like the beginning of the movie, it starts out on her 50th birthday.
It's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
It's your birthday.
It's your birthday. It's my birthday. Thanks.
Sorry.
Don't throw me off on these random loopy-loops. The loopy-loops. He buries his mom and go. Man, I really like having it as a series because this is what it's required for us to have a series. Now this scene is weird. Will goes to a party of this fancy man named Weiss. His daughter Sylvia, who is going to become the love interest, played by Amanda Seyfried. I never say her name right. She plays Colette in Les Miserables.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen that one?
No.
Mamma Mia?
Been a really, really long time.
Oh my gosh.
It's been probably 15.
Jennifer's Body? I'm just kidding. You don't need to see it. Jennifer's Body's weird. She's in Ted 2.
I haven't seen that for a number of reasons.
I like her. I like her a lot. I think she's very sweet. It's weird seeing her in a bob and red hair, but it looks good on her. But it's weird that her mother's mother and her are standing by each other and they look like sisters. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
It's awkward because Mr. Weiss is staring at Will going, I bet you're not wondering right now, which one's my daughter, which one's my mother-in-law, and which one's my wife. And he just stares at him and I'm like, this is awkward. And he points out who is who and he gets to talk to Sylvia. And I wish the chemistry here is so weird. At the end of the movie, I'm like, this is cool. And we kind of talked about, building relationships in the last movie, which I don't know anything about. I'm fine. But
It's okay, buddy.
it's okay. But it's very strange that it started off as a hostage situation and it started off as a mutual attraction.
Yeah.
Going skinny dipping at one point. And then
Yep.
dipping your face. Skinny dipping at one point. And then the timekeepers come and Will is going to be arrested for, which is so dumb because they're like,
I would have liked it rather than them come and arrest him without listening to his side of the story and all that. I would have preferred it to be Cillian Murphy's character. Maybe was like, okay, no, yeah, I'm old too. I've been doing this for a long time. It's kind of getting a little repetitive. I get it.
But
we
no
need to
one,
set
but
some
they should have
ground
been like
rules kind of thing.
No one, but I feel like it should have been like no one just gives away that money. That's what they should have kept saying, in my opinion. I honestly feel like I don't think I would have had him be sympathetic. I would have just had him be just cold. No one gives away that much money. Like there was a camera, and all we found is you staring out at a body and looking up. That's it. Nothing else. Again, Will, no one gives away that much time. No one. And it's like, but like, how is he? Is he just forced it? He just mugged him? He probably could have, but parts like that I'm like, I think I probably would have changed how. I probably would have made it that he didn't like try to jump in the ravine. I felt like he would have just given Will the money, not the money, the time, and just sat back in the chair because they do this scene in a warehouse, which is very random. That it's so empty. Where well, again,
Well, they were running from the
they're running for the Minutemen.
Minutemen,
And I'm always trying to think like I really don't think there's a lot of people on this planet compared to what it used to be because people just don't have a lot of time anymore. It's so weird to see that them swimming and their arms are just glowing. It reminds me of I Am Number 4, which is funny because he's in this movie as the Minuteman. So, where were we going? What were we talking about?
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy. I really don't think he would have been sympathetic. I feel like his main goal should have been no one gets that money, no one gives it away. And so that's why I would want it to be looking more suspicious. I wish they would have found him in the warehouse and he's just sitting there peacefully, like kind of smiling in the chair. But yet they're just so like, why would he give it away? And Cillian Murphy is just set on no one gives away that much money. No one. Which I think would play really cool in what you were thinking about Cillian's character. And so it made him kind of hypocritical. You know what I mean? I still want to mix our two analogies somehow. But I honestly, thinking about it, I liked your way better, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll promise. But I think I liked yours more. Now that I think about it, kind of. I don't know because Cillian Murphy's character knew Will's father, and he knew that he was a man who gave away time, and it's implied, in my opinion. Don't know what Tim thinks, but it is, to me, it's heavily, and even watching this for my third time, I guess this is my fourth, it's really implied that he killed Will's dad. Especially the part later in the movie, he's like sneaking up on Will, who's just sitting down on the curb, and he just pulls a gun out and he's going to shoot him in the head. I'm like, oh my gosh. So again, very Blade Runner feel, very cutthroat. So that's why I don't really think they're police. Their job is just to, you stay here, you stay here, you stay here. They are not police. They're
inquisitors.
Whoa!
They're inquisitors.
Yes!
That's what they are.
That's what they are.
Again, I'm going back to Mistborn. If you read Mistborn, the inquisitors are the people that you send.
It's funny.
Oh, it's terrifying. That's a terrifying thought.
Okay, the Steel Inquisitors are anyway. When people say Inquisitors to me, I think of two. Funny enough, I don't think of Steel Inquisitors, but I do love those, and I would poop my pants if I ever saw one. I would love to dress up as one for cosplay one day, because I think most people would be very uncomfy at Comic-Con.
Which is always a good thing.
Always a good thing. But I think of Spanish Inquisition, which was terrible.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects it. And I love that we make that a joke, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's completely serious. Nobody expects it.
But, and then my second one, and you're going to appreciate this, I think of Star Wars.
Good.
Not Mistborn, which I know probably as well as you do, but I think of Star Wars, which I do not know as well as you do. But to call them Inquisitor, like, look at them. They're just surrounding Will. He's sitting at a table, and they're all wearing their leather coats. They're Inquisitors. You nailed it. And so now that's how I wanted to see it. And I think that Cillian Murphy should say that line so many times. No one gives away that much money.
I'm going to throw this out there, back on the Mistborn thing.
Everyone's going to hate us.
Hollywood.
Okay.
I would cast Cillian Murphy as Marsh. I think I would cast Cillian Murphy as Marsh.
Good Lord.
You can see it now, too.
Especially because he's wearing that outfit.
Yeah.
I just give him some steel rails in his head and bald head, and I always imagined
chills.
I imagined the British actor from Sherlock Holmes.
Okay, I was gonna say you got to be way more specific than that. One British actor,
you know who I did.
Bottle of water.
Bottle of water. You know how it is. It'll be. Okay, we will talk. We'll have that. This is not a Mistborn discussion, but I think we definitely should go through book series and talk about who we'd want, how we do it, and what we would do. We definitely should make that an episode. I want to do it. A Mistborn movie episode. You want to do that next week?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
I think Christmas time would be fun.
Yeah.
Book all Christmas just be about stories. So the Steel Inquisition is what we're after. Just kidding. The Time Inquisition. Time Inquisitors.
I kind of like. I mean, Timekeepers is already good.
Yeah, Timekeepers
Timekeepers is already good. The Time Inquisition is also kind of cool.
They really are.
Maybe they could be maybe the Timekeepers are a faction of the Time Inquisition.
I think Timekeepers just is fine. But for the sake of this, I really think it's punny, it's good, but really I feel like that we could have people joke about that. I feel like Will's people, like his area, his district would be like, you mean Time Inquisition? You're like, no, we keep time. It's like, no, you're Inquisitors. Look at you. Like, and he's like looking around in the room at that scene. Look at you. Sitting here because I'm doing something wrong in the upper up's eyes. I don't fit in because I have all this time. I'm in the wrong, right? But yet all those people out in that room have all the time in the world while my people are dying every day. So I think that would be really good. I feel like that would be a great episode. So we said, so 4, so we said 3 was his mother's death. No.
2. 2 is his mom's death. No, hold on.
3, mom died. 4, traveled to districts. And I feel like we would spend 4 and 5 of him. The rest of, so second half of 4, having him be running around, experiencing, learning. I think he should spend more time in districts, like months. Like I'm talking, he is kind of trying to get away from them because he has to know. What bugs me is he like does this big leap when everyone knew about timekeepers. So why on earth would he just go and travel when he could just like take back roads, or he could wait and just take his time? That was a pun. Laugh, Tim. Laugh. I'm just kidding. But I feel like the rest of 4 and 5 would just be him traveling. And by the end of 5, he's walking into the casino, or maybe we have him finish up the scene with him gambling with Mr. Weiss. And Weiss is like a big name. He's a big name in the upper up world. His name is on every bank. So he is rich. I forgot. I think they showed his arm, and he had like 6,000 years on him.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. So his daughter only has like, how much does he have? Like 40 years on her?
Something like that.
And I say only 40. So I feel like episode 5 would either be him gambling and getting invited to the party, and then the end of episode 5 is him getting brought in by the Inquisition. I definitely would make sure he's talking to Sylvia. Wow, I was way off. I feel like Sylvia could definitely be kind of infatuated with him. They could be talking. And again, I would want it to be months of him in the city. Mm-hmm. Maybe he meets her multiple times.
Even weeks. Just
even
a few weeks.
Just a few weeks. Build something more. And again, but the thing is, the reason why I say it could be months is because he has all that time. 116 years. He literally has all the time in the world. I wouldn't care, especially if we did in episodes. I feel like at least, like even like 5 months of him spending time, getting money, learning all the ways. We just saw his friend's wife, and she just told him that his friend had died. And this part is awesome, that they are now, like, they each divided between them is less than 10 minutes. They end up having less than 10 minutes at one point in the movie, and that's nuts, and I definitely would want that. Like, the beginning of episode 6 would be them just, maybe it would be like, have to be 10 episodes, man. By 5, I feel like 5 would be when the down is starting to come. So the end of episode 5, he's arrested. Or at least he's brought in by the Time Inquisitors, you know? And I would say that he wouldn't I wouldn't want him and Sylvia to ever be hostage situation. I would be that she gets him out. She works with him. there's a point where he's being held at the house and she tries to talk to him, and the timekeepers are like, you can't talk to him. And they're like, nah, okay, we'll let her. I don't know, just something like that. They get to talk to her, and I don't know. I would just want her to be kind of, what do you, I don't want to say a radical, but not a hippie, but she's been
A little bit
always like
rebellious.
rebellious. Because they kind of mention she's rebellious, and she's like, we need to help those in District 13. I mean, District 13. Sorry, wrong book.
Wow.
District 12.
Really going for Hunger Games now.
Well, and that's District 9, which I need a sequel of that movie. That's another R-rated movie that I think we need to see if we can find a way for you to watch, because it deserves a sequel. We all want it. And I feel like we could have fun with that. So either look up a synopsis or whatever. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies.
Okay.
I say that. One of my favorite R-rated sci-fi movies. Because anyway. So 5, arrested. I want Sylvia to be rebellious, wants to help the other districts, but she doesn't understand fully what's going on. She's just kind of at the time rich girl on paper who's like, we need to help those in need. You know what I mean? Like, we need to do better. Okay, well, will you give your time and have less than a day? No. She's never had under a month on her arm in her life. That sort of thing. Like, she's always had like a month minimum, which is a lot of time.
That is a lot of time.
If you think about how District 12 lives, it's a lot of time. A month.
Even realistically, like with our conversion rate thing, a month is.
Do you want me to?
Well, let's see.
Let me.
24.
One sec. I got it. 5. Oh, clear. Okay, let's see.
60 times 24 times 30.
64,800. That's a month.
That's a lot of.
That's a month.
Even by our own standards.
I've never had that much money before.
I haven't either.
Okay, so a month still.
Mm-hmm.
You're just walking around with more than 50K, realistically. I feel like doing that conversion really helps put it in perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
4 minutes for a cup of coffee. That's insane. Makes me really think about when you're buying stuff, because sometimes I buy stuff and I'm like, oh, I just bought a meal. Like I bought Apollo Burger the other day and it was $22 for a meal and a milkshake, and I was like, ugh, geez, was that worth it? My dad taught me that lesson real hard, because I bought a hamburger once and we were on a road trip and he bought like a value meal, and he's like, I make this much money an hour. He didn't tell me how much, but he's like, I make well enough that I could have bought what you got, but I bought this. You make this much. At the time I was making like 12 an hour, in high school. And he goes, and look what you bought. You basically spent a whole hour of your time for that. And how was it? And I was like, not good. Nah, there you go. So I want Sylvia to be rebellious. I want her to somehow help Will get out of it. I would say that maybe she talks about maybe keeping like a door open in the backyard. She's like, I'll have a car running. I'll help you get through this. This is wrong. Because she was so quick to turn on him. And I was like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish she was listening outside, because they interview him in her home.
It's like in her dad's office.
Yeah, in her dad's office. And I wish that she was listening, and one of the Minutemen are the thugs. And these guys are kind of thugs in their own right. But I wish a timekeeper or her father found her listening in, and she's like, this is all wrong. You all understand this. He hasn't hurt anybody, hasn't been doing anything. And her dad's like, well, he took all my money in gambling. He had seconds and that scene was awesome. He's gambling with her father. There's 700 years at one point. No, 1,100 years on the table. Because
1,100 years.
Wait, no. Yes, it was up to 700. He bets a little more, and then he goes all in. Will has less than 30 seconds left on his clock, and he wins. He has a full flush when her father had 3 queens, which is insane to me either way. He wins 1,100 years. And you're like, wow, that scene was amazing. Her dad was pissed. He kept asking to play another game. He insisted, even though the man has, 6,000 years on his arm? He didn't care, but he just was so mad that he lost money, which is so funny because later on, they're requesting money to free his daughter, and he's like, nope. Wait, no. They are like, give $1 million to this, not a million, 1,000. 1,000 to District 13 and
12. District 12.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. To District 12 and you'll be fine. And he like struggles. He's like, I don't give it. And I like how they showed that in her dad, and I would have kept that. Like he was insisting on paying him back, and he's so angry that he lost, especially to a street urchin. And I wish he would have kept calling him that. I don't want no 12-y stealing money from me. And you're like, ooh, they got fake slurs in this universe. Like stuff like that. What's 12 in Spanish? Doce?
Doce.
He's calling doces. Why are we speaking Spanish in America? I don't know. It's just, it works better. I would have called him doces. That sounds hilarious. You're a doce, aren't you? Mm-hmm. What'd you call me? I'm keeping it.
Philippe Weiss, her dad, has 10,000 years on his arm, on his body clock.
Constantly? That's right. That's why he has to walk around with which again bugs me. Why do they need to walk around with so much protection in their district? Are people that cutthroat in that district? Do people rob each other that bad over there? Which I wish we could have seen that. We could have seen someone get mugged. Maybe they have their own version of Minutemen in that district. Mm-hmm. But that's too much world building, which bugs me. It's like, why do they have so many guards? Who's going to come? District 12 people aren't going to be in your area. So why do you need all that protection? Who are you protecting yourself from? That's what bugs me, is why? There's too many whys. Because at the end of the movie, her dad has 12 guards on him. And you're like, why do you have that many guards? Who's coming to get you? Do you guys have Minutemen in your area? What's going on? Are people sneaking across the borders? What? It was the questions, Tim. It's too many. So maybe we could have seen their own version of Minutemen in that area. And what bugs me is this area, they're back in District 12, and a lot of people are walking, and you're like, you're supposed to kind of show that no one has time here. Or they just spend it wisely because everyone's either walking with someone else or, I forgot about the oath. Oh, they kissed.
You're surprised about the kiss, and you're more surprised about the kiss than the skinny dipping.
What I'm more surprised about is they have payphones. What surprised me about the kiss is, again, she was a hostage to him, and she had the whole what's that complex called when you're trapped with someone and you fall in love with them? What's that called?
I don't remember what it's called.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? Editor's note, that is called Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'll probably put it. See, look, right here. Will is just sitting here on the curb watching Sylvia dial a phone to call her father on a payphone, and turns around and, oh my gosh, Will, look out! And she shoots a gun and she ends up getting him. And you're like, I don't mind that. I don't. No. I'll forgive that she got lucky. She point a shot. Will takes his gun. I do like this scene. And what's very sweet is he gives him time. Where does he get the time from? Oh, he gives him 4 hours, right?
Something like that.
Because I thought that was cool about the timekeepers is they didn't have a lot of times on them. They had to go into their cars and reload their time so that they don't get which, again, you can't, unless you hold someone down and take their time. I wish we could have set up to a different way for people to take time or whatever. But I think the idea that it's a what is it called? Hourglass? That probably is what makes the most sense, is it's an hourglass.
Mhm.
You pour your time into them. You pour
It's
your
the other
time.
way around. You're pulling it. You're on top. If you're on top, you're getting time.
What?
Uh-huh.
I'm
Pretty sure.
gonna rewind. Now I'm confuzzled. Pause on the play.
See?
That's so dumb. No, it
No,
should have
it's
been.
because when you strong arm someone and you're trying to take their time, you want to be on top.
That's true. Then fine, I guess that works. I was really thought it'd be cool because yeah, I can't force you. I mean, it could. I feel like you can force someone to stay up top too. No, you can't.
Mm.
Because yeah, the supination would not be as strong as. Okay, yeah. All right, all right.
It would be a different movie if that was
It
the
would
way.
be a different movie.
Mhm.
It really would. And I feel like though that would be. It would be. I like that more. The reason why is because you're literally giving.
Mhm.
It feels like you're pouring your time into them. So to mug someone in that version would be completely different. You would have to force them to hold their arm still. You like have a bunch of your cronies hold on and just take their time. And you would have to have them force. You know what? I would like to request that we change it. That your arm has to be on top, and it's like pouring the sand down. I feel like that's way. It's a more instead of it being a receiving motion, it literally has to be a giving.
Mhm.
And that's what's the ironic thing is a lot of people don't give. It's not handouts because I that's what's interesting in this universe in this version. Everyone has to. You literally have to cup your arm like you're receiving. You're asking. But it would be cool that in another way in ours you have to give, and that just shows how selfish people are. Is no one gives.
That would be
They just take. But in our version, oh wait, no, I said that backwards. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
No,
a
yes.
yes.
I agree. I think that'd be kind
I
of cool.
think that'd be way better to have your if I'm giving you time, my arm has to be on top and it has to pour into you. We can both watch our arms, watch, and we can see it go. And even here, we see a guard with this woman, or that's a valet, and they take her money. See, this part bugs me is that they should have mugged them before she tries to shoot a gun because she shoots I forget his character. The minute
Just the
the
timekeeper. I don't think
timekeeper
he has a name.
is he just called timekeeper? His name is Raymond Leon.
You're right. You're right. It is Raymond Leon.
Raymond Leon. She shoots Raymond Leon. I would have rather have her learned how to shoot a gun first than get lucky.
I don't know. I kind of like get the fact that she got lucky, and I think if she made more of a point that that was a lucky
And they
shot.
they are proving that right here because the gun goes off and she's like, "Oh, I really don't know how to use this." And now we're getting the Bonnie and Clyde. And I would have had this be episode. I think 10. I think 10's a good number. 5 is where it really starts going downhill for him. I would say by the end of 6, they have no money. Episode 7 is stressful and they are literally covered with nothing. Like they're less than like the movie begins and they have less than 5 minutes between them. So in literally the first, and we need to feel stressed as an audience that when that episode starts, they need to be like running, and I want to follow them for 2 minutes to run to the and I don't care if that would be lame. I don't care if people would hate it, but to feel them run
Mhm.
and have a conversation while running, and we follow them for 2 minutes, I would take that gamble that the audience would freak out. That for 2 minutes we see them running to the pawn shop to give off her earrings, and for them to be counted out, and we as the audience are like, we could even have like the timer watching, like in the corner of the screen, watching Justin Timberlake's arm, so we can see that this is happening in real time.
Uh-huh.
We, the audience, are like, are they gonna make it? We don't need to have the arm of the core, but you know what I mean? They literally.
I can think of a few tricky ways that we could do that. A few tricky ways that we could show the time counting down. You know, maybe just like in the background we see a few timers going
Here's how I would do it.
Often.
Let's say he has to make a sharp turn, and he grabs like a stop sign and goes to turn, and it shows his.
It shows his arm.
It shows his arm.
Okay.
It shows him like pulling her forward.
There can be a few of those.
So we can just see that the time is going down, and we're following it, and so some weird audience member can be like, "It's actually 2 minutes," and then they can like time be like, "Oh my gosh, they actually did it!" Like like that would be cool. Like I would make that scene stressful.
Oh yeah,
they get it. And we know, like, they're sitting there talking, and they're throwing because in the movie, they get to the, I would probably make it maybe longer. Maybe I would say she's got 4 minutes, but he has only got 3. Or maybe, you know what I mean? Like they're going down to the last second. Like, they see Justin Timberlake's arm, and he's got like 20 seconds or less. Because she grabs her earrings, throws them underneath the door because they're closing, and they open it back up. There's a shotgun to their face, and he's like, "I'll give you 2 days for each." And these are
2 days total.
Yeah, 2 days total. Sorry, 1 day each for each earring. That's what I meant. Sorry. And how do you argue with that? Your time is literally running out, and these people are saying you get a day each for these diamonds. Which again, who knows how much those were? I don't even want to think about it. I wish later in the movie she could have been like, those were worth 2 years or something like that. Something crazy like that. Like, or she's like, those were each worth 6 months. Like, so a year. For the pair.
I mean, what they received for them was $2,880. If we're still going by no, hold on, times 1.5, 4,320. If we're still going by our thing,
wow. So that's still a lot.
That's expensive. That's
a
lot of money.
That's a lot, but it's only a day.
It's true,
and that's
2 days.
2 days. But they each have to split it between the two of them.
They split it, yeah. So 2160 per person.
But what's crazy is, and I know that we're all sitting there like, oh yeah, well that's a lot of money. No. Every second is running by. You are losing $1.50 every minute. So either you're spending that time or it's going away. That's what's crazy about this movie is we're talking about, oh, we have all this time you're buying. It's not just currency. You're actually living as well, which is scary.
Living is scary.
It is terrifying. Who decided this? Who was in charge here? I need to talk to my manager about this. Pulls out a Karen, goes to some like all powerful being. So who's in charge here?
Yep.
I want to be born in the 20s. I was born in 2023. I wanted 1923. Thank you. And you're like, are you sure? Anyway, that's a big difference. What we say? We say that was episode 7. So episode 7 would be them getting that money, and then by the end of it, we see them going through and Bonnie and Clyding it. The rest of episode 7 would be Bonnie and Clyde. They're going ham. And probably the end of this episode 7 would be them, I would say probably checking into that apartment and getting, which bugs me is why did they, I mean, I know why they stayed in this district. I think the episode 7 would end with them giving money to all the people in District 13. We see District 13 going up. 12.
District
Gosh,
12. It's
dang
not,
it.
Again, this is not Hunger Games.
I think episode 12 for me. Oh my gosh. Numbers.
Episode 7 should end right here.
I would have it end with the timekeepers watching the distribution of time just fluctuating and freaking out. And you just see Cillian Murphy's character just... and getting angry.
No, I think I'd have it end here.
Oh yeah, because he's right here. Yeah.
He's right here, right when they robbed the bank.
So would you still have them basically mug Killian earlier on, or would you want that maybe in episode 8? No, because we actually need to have them being completely. No, yeah, I think episode 8 would be a good spot for them to. How much did they give her? 10 years? I think she gave him. She gave him another 10 years. 10 years.
A decade is what they gave her husband. And he drank himself to death.
Again, I think putting your wrist on top would be much more significant than the bottom. And it's so sweet because he goes up to the it's basically like a bank, and people go in to receive money. They receive their daily source of money, and he goes and he just puts, how much time is he putting on him? Like 10 years, and he's just giving people time. Like this man, I wish we would have gotten a story for this man right here in charge of it, because he's doing his job. He's giving people time. And it's just so sweet that there are at least some people in District 12, I said it right, who want to give. And I love it. I would have wished he had a name. I wish he had his own little backstory. And this is where episode 8 would be going off, is the Minutemen going around and they're seeing the repercussions of it. Because, they walk up to this guy and he's like, that's a nice watch. And he pulls out a gun. He's like, yeah, because this dude's got, 4 months on him? And he goes, yeah, I do. That's why I got this. And he pulls a gun out. And I'm like, oh. Because the Minutemen probably don't use, well, they do use guns because we see it right here. Because they drive away from this guy and they back up.
And shoot him in the back.
Yep, they shoot him in the back of the head. Oh.
No, chest.
Ah, back of the chest, okay.
Or in his back.
They shoot him in the back. Fortis, that's his name. Fortis is the leader of the Minutemen, played by Alex Paytifer. He was Alex Rider. Not Alex Rider. What's that spy movie? Let's see. He played in... I love him. He's got a very pretty face. He played in I Am Number 4. Funny enough that we talked about that. Beastly. He was in Magic Mike. Oh my gosh. Stormbreaker. I don't know what Stormbreaker is. What is Stormbreaker? That's a movie I guess we got to look up. What was that stupid movie about the spy? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, he played in the Mummy, Tomb of the... Oh, is he the son in the Mummy? Oh my gosh. Huh, I thought that at least they would tell me it, but I guess not. He played in some weird young spy movie. I read the book as a kid. I can't remember it. I swear it was like Alex Rider or something. Oh yeah, it was Stormbreaker. I'm stupid. That was the name of the
spy movie. The
spy movie was Stormbreaker. I'm like, Stormbreaker? That sounds... And Ewan McGregor was his uncle.
Hello there.
Hello there. And then he dies at the beginning. Dun, dun, dun. And he says that when he dies. He goes, and he sees the gun to his face. Hello there. And then he dies. I'm just kidding.
I really hope that's true.
Oh, shoot. I love the woman screaming. Ah! Ah! See, this part was interesting because the timekeepers find Will's apartment and they're going to hunt him down. And they see that two of the timekeepers won't follow because they jump from like a 2-story building onto a car. And he's like, they won't jump. And then Cillian Murphy's character just jumps. And you're like, oh. And this was interesting because he's running. He's used to running and he's fast. Because that's something I wish we could have noticed, is that Will runs fast. Most of District 12 runs very fast. They have to run. I really wish because I really wish it was so foreign to her to run. I wish her like, you need to run. She's like, what? He's like, run. She's like, I'm not very good at running. Why? Why would I need to run? Oh. It was really cool for them to put in little crumbly bits of Cillian Murphy's character. What was his name? Raymond's character.
Raymond Leon.
That Raymond Leon is that Raymond is from District 12 originally. I really love that. And I feel like the last episode would have been a big showdown between him and Raymond. And it was like talking, like the big chase scene in the end. So what would be, because we did 8. 8 would be them
Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyding it. Wait. No, 8, yeah, 8 would be them. 7 finished with them starting the Bonnie and Clyde. 8 would be them Bonnie and Clyding some more. And District 13, dang it, District 12 is getting better. And, well, not getting better, but they're going. We're seeing an influx of people getting money. I forgot that they bribed the bus driver. Because how hard would that be to be like, I will give you a month right now. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. I will give you $5,000.
$5,000 to
Right
drive
here,
a
right now.
car. Right now. Just pay me. And I like their chemistry. I feel like they were a cute couple.
I agree. I think building up to it would have been, they could have taken a little bit more effort.
To me, it was better than The Mummy.
Agreed. I agree.
I just wouldn't have them having a hostage situation. I would have her just kind of be like gung-ho, like, yeah, we're going to do this. Fight the power. Fight the power. And then it's not fight the power. Oh my gosh, this is not. I definitely would have had her when they are having little time, that she is completely like blaming him and kind of changing her tone for a second. So I feel like the end of episode 8 would be them running away from Killian, and it ends with them on the bus. Or it ends with them going to the apartment complex and renting out the entire complex, and that one dude sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And
then, we could have the Minutemen. It could end with the Minutemen
in this scene, which I thought was a very well scene, a very good scene.
I would have this scene. I would have the whole Minutemen thing play out for all of episode 8, and it could be maybe the episode could be called Minutes, something like that. Just be kind of clever with it.
So you know this scene right here, where one dude is getting forced to give his time.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
2 days.
Yeah, he's got 2 days, and he takes all that time. Or does he say a month? I think he says a month.
It might be a month.
Because he's like, I'm looking for who gave that man a month, and they're talking about cleaning everyone's clock. And what's funny is that this guy with the briefcase sees them go into the hotel, rent it all out, and we never see him again in the next scene. And I love that implication. Just, oh yeah, you'll get your reward. No, you won't, you stupid. These are the Minutemen. They take their people's time. They are the more crooked version they are the lower class of the Inquisitors. Because he kind of mentions that. And I would have had that be the big part. So would you want episode 8 to end with them busting through the door?
No, I would want episode 8 to end with the Minuteman dying. The Minutemen dead.
Okay.
All dead. Because this all happens in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They burst through the door. They, he's the Minuteman's all creepy on
Sylvia.
and Will challenges him to a
which I don't think would work.
Thing.
It wouldn't work in our. Honestly, though,
I don't know. I personally like it the way that it is.
Okay.
Because it's like you have to take time. You have to take time to do anything.
Yeah.
Rather than you give your time. You have
See,
to take
the reason
time.
why I like it the other way is because even if you arm wrestle someone, you couldn't take someone's time that way. I would say that it always has to be voluntary. And that's what this way forces you to drip your time into people. And I feel like that would have been the perfect way to do it, because then no one can forcefully take your time. It literally is given unless you're getting, because maybe they have a system for it.
I don't know. I do like
And I get it.
I
Why
like the way
it,
that it
it
is.
works in this world. It works for this movie. But I feel like if I were to have this system, I would really make it that you literally have to have your arm on top because then
Mhm.
you're giving, and that just shows that people give their time willingly. So that's why the Minutemen are so not Minutemen. The timekeepers are so set that no one gives away that much time because it's giving. Like you tricked him, you tied him up, you forced him, you strong armed him in a way. You put his hand down and you rolled him over and you hold him like an armbar. Maybe if we did it my way, they literally have to wrestle and you have to pin them down. No, because even then, when you pin someone, you always it doesn't work. It doesn't work for this type of movie. You can't force people to do it. But
Mhm.
that's why I like it so much, and I'm gonna stand by it. But
Okay.
I get it for the movie. Because if I really were to make a system in a world where people have to give money in a way, I would make it that you literally have to give. That's how I would do it because it would lessen the chance of you ever getting robbed because no one could strong arm you. Probably would force more death, but it time wouldn't be stolen. It would be very hard.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just like I'm sitting here, and I wish you all could like see us because I'm over here like just twisting my arm back and forth thinking about it. And this scene was cool. So in this universe, sorry, not in this universe, but in the movie, they have to strong arm each other. Basically, it's an arm wrestle, and you flip your arm over, and you're taking their time. And not Will Smith. Oh my gosh, Will's father had the perfect technique to winning. He would sit there and let people win, let people win, let people win. And when it gets down to the last 10 seconds,
Last 5 seconds.
people look at the watch and relax because they think it's over. And then he would bam and strong arm them. And that's what he does. And this scene was so well done because he's got the leader of the Minutemen, and he's sitting there and his time's draining, and he's taking. And I believe it's like intuition because you have to think like, I have to take all your time. I have to take all your time. I have to, like, because how do you stop? Do you just sit there and you think in your head, oh, I'm taking a minute, and then bam, it stops? Because people just sit there, watch, and they stop. Because when he takes his time, it's just, the clock is just going.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's like willpower to take people's time. But as he's taking his time, he pulls out a gun from his
From his
shoe
boot.
and he pops the other three and wins, and the last one just dies. And I feel bad for him to some degree because he does such a good job making me feel bad because the look in his eyes is just, you don't win your armbar. But what bugs me is all you have to do is stand up. Stand up, move your arm. You could just stand up, jump out of that chair, and you'd be fine. There's so many ways to get out of that. So for me, it's a little silly. That whole way of getting money is oh. Anyway, so would you have that would be the ending of episode 9,
8.
8. So what would be 9 and 10?
I would have 9 be Killian Murphy hunting them down. Um, and them breaking into the vault.
Ah.
Um,
Oh, because they're just raising.
mhm.
Yeah. That this part bugged me so much. Oh,
Did a good job of it.
did a good job.
Yeah. No, I would have them. I would have episode 9 be they break into the vault. Killian Murphy's chasing after him. And it ends with them taking the million years and walking out. And
And
then I would have episode 10 be there. It's the race to get a million years out to the people. And then I think episode 10 could end with the last 20 minutes of this movie.
yeah.
Because the last 20 minutes of this movie were perfect. I think the chase and then Killian Murphy running out of time. Um, he's a timekeeper, but he forgets to keep his own time.
How did they lose their time again at the end of the movie? Because they have all their time, because they have a decent amount, but why are they? Because they only have seconds to live too, and they run out to Killian Murphy's car.
And they get their time.
Uh huh.
I don't remember.
I guess we'll have to watch and see because now I'm like worried. So we have to probably mention to you guys that district, the timekeepers just raise prices. I think it's the timekeepers. I because they have all those stocks, they have all those prices. They also have her dad that kind of keeps charge of it. But the timekeepers also, I feel like they have a hand in it in some way. I really wish when they found that dead body at the beginning of the movie, it was a timekeeper staring at the body, just to really build like a sense of like, ooh, they do watch stuff. Ooh, creepy. Oh my gosh. But they just raise prices. So, that's the kind of thing with too much inflation too fast is companies can just go, well, cool. So, a little warning of inflation. But again, we're not here to talk about that. Just interesting take on it. And they get the money. They go up to her dad. They trick. I love how he disguised himself as the security guard.
Mm-hmm.
And just a million years. That's a money that's unfathomable. The way that
Unfathomable.
and then I can't even think about it. How much money that would be? A million years. I don't even think I couldn't even. I think I could do. I think I could travel the world comfortably for 100 years from now. I think I could do that. If I could just travel, not worry about anything, and I could just travel the world, learn. I think I could do that for 100 years. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd get sick of it after a while, but then I could just give my time. It's an interesting take. I really do like it, and I do stand that if I did this, I would make it a more giving process, which shows just how selfish people are. That's why I really wanted it, just to show how like people are so hesitant to give, and they're like, I would have shown that in their area, like people rarely give money or give time. No, like you barely see any interaction with arms. Everyone's just giving, never receiving. They're just giving money over there, whether they're paying for stuff or. Ugh. So how did they lose all that money? I just want to fast forward to figure out. Because I'm like sitting here like, how do they do
I
that?
think they were giving it away. No, they.
Oh wow, I fast forwarded way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they just get chased. They get chased from the district, which that part bugs me is they drive through everything without it getting stopped. And they didn't think to like get more money from that time clock because they give it to that little girl and she goes and runs into District 12 and everyone starts taking money from it, which they, there's not even a million people there. Not even like probably only a couple hundred people, maybe a couple thousand. And even then, like the amount of money that they receive, they're just crashing the whole ecosystem. They are all some of the richest people alive at that point.
You know what they could have done instead is they have time. They have plenty of time.
Uh-huh.
And Killian Murphy shows up and he's about out of time, and Will grabs his arm and says, "Let me give you some more." And the timekeeper's no.
Oh.
And refuses to take his time. Because that could be a good end to him.
See, that's why the reason why I think I would like how I would do things is because instead of it giving, when you give, he strong arms Will and gives him the rest of his time.
Gives him his 10 seconds.
His 10 seconds back. So we kind of discussed this. So I think we've kind of set a basis that, it ends with them getting the $1 million, them setting the standard, them not setting the standard, them kind of crippling the current economy, them changing everything for the better. Better, I say with quotations. We don't know the repercussions, and I would leave that to just the audience's interpretation. That's kind of what I talk about, that if this was a second season, what would happen? Like, oh my gosh, would it be in turmoil? Would it be nuts? Would there be wars? Like, oh, there's so many questions. And I like that. That's what's fun about world building and actually making a big world. So, but the last thing I think I want to talk about is that we want to talk about Cillian Murphy and his dad's connection. So I think that the last episode would be he's got them cornered. He's got them with a gun. And they have all the time in the world, like you said. But he doesn't realize he's running out. But he's going to shoot them. He doesn't care. He's supposed to keep time. He's like, I'm going to take you all with me. This is it. And I love, this is what bugs me, is he throws another timekeeper out of his police car when he could have had backup. I'm like, so he was so set on doing it himself. And the thing is, no one realizes I don't think they realize how much money he's giving away. It's that awesome guy from the bank I told you all about. He's just giving money. He's holding 1,000,000 years in his hand. And what bugs me is,
it's like 700 and something billion more. It's more than that. Hold on. Anyway, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot. We can't even fathom that amount of money.
That's a lot of time, too.
Was it 1,000,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I thought you said 1,000,000,000 for a second. But
I said $1 billion.
Okay.
It's more
okay. I got you.
I think it's more than that.
But I feel like the last bit of this movie would really be like the connection of Killian's
why is Raymond Leon
so set
doing what he does?
I feel like there would be I feel like 15 minutes of the last episode would be a mini episode, kind of like the Fire Lord and the Avatar kind of thing.
I was kind of thinking something similar.
They just kind of have a little side story of his father and him. I was kind of thinking of Killian, oh my gosh, Leon killing his dad to do it. And I think that he could have killed him and become inducted into the Inquisition, but you had the idea of...
My current thought, I feel like it should be more... For me, I feel like it would be more Cillian Murphy and Will's dad knew each other, grew up together, were friends in the ghetto. A little bit later, Cillian Murphy is all about the time's got to stay the way it is. It's just how the world works. We can't do anything to change it. And Will's dad is all about we can fix this. We can change it. And Cillian Murphy's character ends up becoming a timekeeper, and Will's dad ends up maybe a Minuteman and hunts down people who take time from other people, takes that time back, and goes around and gives it back to people.
So he's an maybe not a
Minuteman,
but he's the other side. Like he has
the
scraps.
anti-Minuteman.
He has a few scraps with the old guy, which is funny because oh my gosh, the lead Minuteman, he was 70 when he was killed. Like he just turned 70. He brags about that in the movie. I would have definitely had him. It would have been cool if he mentioned Will's dad constantly. Like, your dad was always a pain in my side, just something like that. Like, because he would have been like Silas. I remember that name.
Solace.
Sorry. Silas. Who's that? That's a different character.
Briarwood. Some of you will know that reference.
Well, I need to ask you some questions after that. But I see this part at the end of the movie where all of them are freaking out, like, what do we do, sir? The time's getting changed, whatever. It just reminds me of the current Napoleon memes.
Uh-huh.
about like, Napoleon, sir, there's nothing. What should we do? Because Napoleon was surrounded, and supposedly his words were, "There's nothing we can do," and he sits down. It feels like that.
I'm. You said that, and the only image that went through my head was in Star Wars. Master Skywalker. There are too many of them.
It's based.
What are
It
we
is
going to
like
do?
that. Someone did make that a meme because they were like, "Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What do we do?" And then it shows
Mhm.
Anakin. There's nothing we can do, and it shows his lightsaber come out, and you're like, "Oh."
Fun fact about that scene in
I
particular.
hate that scene. I've only seen that movie once because of that scene.
The little boy jumped because Hayden Christensen said "boo,"
Oh,
like
I
"boo,"
have heard that.
and it scared the kid. It startled the kid a little bit.
It's such a
Oh, just watched it last week.
yeah.
Anyway,
I have never got up the nerve to watch it ever again. I've only seen it once.
it's a good movie.
It is,
A
but
lot of
I
people
just
hate the prequels, but
they are
I
important.
like them.
They are important, and you can fight me. They are needed. They're better than the last three,
I'll take Jar Jar Binks over any of the sequels,
except your version. I love your
except
version.
mine. Anyway,
But I think that to show Leon and him being friends, being and kind of having this division of him wanting to get out of District 13, dang it, District 12, getting out and wanting to be something and he's continually being a Robin Hood, getting money, strong arming, helping those, constantly like running away from the Minutemen. He's like, we can get out of here. And he's like, no, I have a wife that I want to worry about. Because he must have died.
he died. Will says that
He's a little
his
boy.
dad died when he was a little boy.
So probably, yeah. So probably barely when he was maybe 3 or 4, like little. But it just would have been cool to have that. He has that revelation. He's like, I got out. Whether it's he received that time from his dad, or he left the city or he killed his father due to the Inquisition, and I'm going to call him that for this scene, trying to hunt down his father. But I think your version of having him give his time for him to leave, like literally, like just gives him the rest of his time, like, fine, you want to do this so bad. Maybe he's shot by one of the
His dad gets shot and is dying.
His dad gets shot by him, and he goes, you want to make it so bad, fine, and he gives him the rest of his time. Do it, become something. And he like dies before the bullet wound can take him, or something like that.
Or maybe the bullet wound kills him while he has seconds on the clock or something. Because that could show, that would reinforce, for me at least, that you can still die and that time is wasted.
I would have wanted to see more of that. Maybe some few gunfights. And we do see that with the Minutemen, but I feel like at the end, the big reveal that his dad was the one who is kind of to blame for his dad's death. Maybe they messed up. They messed up. They had a big score. They stole a lot from the Minutemen. They could finally leave. And maybe he begged him, like, take care of my wife and son. And he didn't. And he became he thought he could do better as becoming maybe said, I was going to keep my promise. I was going to come back for you, but I didn't want anyone else to, like the selfishness came in of giving up his time, keeping the structural order. He's like, it just didn't make sense. No one from District 12 can leave. And then, as he's explaining this, he goes, I'm sorry to see you have this way. I'm sorry to see it end this way. And it's so hard to see those eyes of your father die a second time. And he holds up the gun to him, and you're like, oh! So I kind of like the part that they that he dies and they have to rush to his car. But I think that if the series just ends with them kind of looking at him, they have plenty of time, and then it ends with seeing the repercussions, the stock market, quote unquote, just failing, shows like a big horde of people. I would have liked them walking with the people from District 12 into the next area, and that could be the end of the series. Not them going up to a giant bank, which looks like
it was cool.
It was cool, but
they're dead.
they're dead if they go up against that bank, unless unless they have a whole army with them. But I feel like the end of the movie would be all of them walking the whole place, like a big line of people, like it shows them leading a big line of people out of District 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just ends in time. So that's how I think we would have done it. I feel like a series, ooh.
And focus, I feel like some of the episodes should have a little bit more focus on some of the other characters.
Yeah, focus on the other characters, focus more on the world.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to know why they have so many guards in that rich of an area. So are there people that sneak out? Are there people who are desperate? Are there people who get in debt? Are there people, because they spend, because either you're giving or you're spending. That's why I like the version I do. So maybe a lot of people just get in debt in those areas and they're trying to kidnap people, gag them, bound them, and they force them to give them their money. Because again, we talked about it, you can't force someone to give, but if you like tie them up, knock them out, because you can knock someone out and take their money. It's probably how I would have the Minutemen do most things. They just knock people out. I'm still trying to think about it. But all in all, I think that this movie would have been better as a series. I definitely could have seen this on Hulu or Max. Hopefully, it wouldn't have taken a TVMA turn. Probably would have in this day and age. But I feel like this could have been a very good sci-fi series. I would have watched this. I would have liked this. Gives me it matches the vibe of what was going on a lot in 2013. We had Hunger Games. We had, I believe, Red Rising was starting to become big. We were loving the dystopian look, and I would make sure that this series has a more dystopian feel.
And for being 10 years old, this movie's still a good
It's very
movie.
practical. I don't think there's any CGI, except maybe those timers on their arms.
I think the timers on their arms and maybe the
some explosions, but everything else is so very well done movie when it comes to effects and everything. And wow, we just sat through all the credits. This is a long episode.
It is. But it was a good one. I think the idea for this podcast, taking movies and rewriting them, making them better, it doesn't just have to be movies that it doesn't just have to be Babylon AD.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have to be
that
terrible
wasn't
movies.
what I wanted.
I like the idea that we're taking movies like this one, like The Mummy, and we're just improving on them. And I know, like, for my Star Wars episodes, there was the whole. A lot of people did enjoy those. Sequels.
I've had a lot of compliments from them.
I'm talking about the actual movies. I'm okay with that. I'll be honest, it doesn't feel right as Star Wars, but it's still Star Wars, right? And I'm still gonna watch it. I still enjoy it. And that the point isn't that we're taking terrible movies and rewriting them. We're just trying to fix some mistakes made.
And that really was my main point about this. There were a few movies I've watched and I was like, this ending could have been way better. Could have been something else. And what's this? I've never seen this. But this was a good one. And I didn't want to do like terrible movies every week. I wanted to do something that some of you have seen, something that I've decently enjoyed, but there are some things that I just was irked with. Just like with last week, I was like, not bad, just not perfect. Again, though, I think I enjoyed this movie more than The Mummy.
I think so. I think so too. I am.
Even though we wouldn't have
Mhm.
changed a lot with The Mummy, there, I think it's just the only reason why it just fell off was because of that relationship. It just bugs me. Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of sci-fi movies personally. I love
Oh,
Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I'm more of a fantasy guy,
I love sci-fi. It's my original love.
and that's okay. Everybody has their own loves. I this is a movie that I think I would watch again though.
It's good. I didn't I came out of this again after so many years of not seeing it. I went, this was good. This was good, not bad. But there's just a few
Holds
things that
up.
I'm like, I think it would have been better as a series. I feel like it would definitely fit the vibe of a series nowadays, and it would be so good. And if they were to announce that they're gonna do a series next year, I'd be like, okay, I can do it. I'll
Mhm.
watch it. The first season could be about the first movie, and
Second
then
season could be
second
the
season,
ramifications and
the ramifications, and then I think the end goal, in my opinion, would be getting rid of
time.
time and they go back to normal lives. So,
They could have a group called the Timeless, and those are people that their clocks have hit zero, but they don't. They're not dead. They're still alive.
how?
I don't know.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh.
we'll think about this. We'll think about
I
this, and maybe we
like
could
it.
write this.
Jeez, that is.
We could write this.
I like. Could you imagine though? Like the end of one season is Will like stumbling upon a person. He looks up. He's like, and he goes, "Someone give me time," and they all start laughing at him. And he go, "What's happening?" They're basically like vampires, and they lift up their cloaks and they're old.
Okay.
Like some of them are old. It's an old man. Never seen an old man before. He goes, "Oh!" Like that. Oh, okay. Nope,
I
nope.
like it. Okay,
I
we'll talk about
we'll
this
talk
because
about it.
I think this could be a fun episode.
That would be fun. Season 2.
Yeah.
We'll make up a season 2.
Yes.
I think that'll be fun. Well, you heard it here, folks. Season 2 of In Time to be brought to you by Hear Me Out Pitch Studios.
Hollywood hire us.
Hollywood hire, please. Actually, don't. I
Don't.
really-
I'm good.
I'm good.
Actually,
I don't want
Sony hire me.
Oh,
I'll take Sony
I'll
over.
take Sony. But with that being said, thanks everyone.
Hope you guys have a good holiday season, good Thanksgiving, have some good turkey. And until next time, we'll see you later, pitches.
Come